What's up, everyone? All right, I'm gonna go talk about, what's the 10 common obstacle to avoid when you start a business. Now, before I get into this and before I talk to y'all about these 10 common obstacles you might want to try to avoid when you starting a business, please talk to a business consultant. I'm not your business consultant. Please talk to a legal advisor. Please talk to people to help you on this. Now, some of the issues you might run into. This might not be all of them, but these are the 10 obstacles to avoid when you're starting a business. Now, number one is insufficient market research. You're not doing enough research and can deter your business, or it can hurt your business if you don't figure out how or who you're targeting, your customer needs, your competition, and your industry trends. Lack of market research can hurt you. And this could be services, poor marketing strategies. You're paying a lot of money for a marketer that's not actually doing a good job, because people are always trying to get you to pay for advertisement. People are always trying to lowball you in your market, and people are always trying to give you product at a higher price so they can make money. So before you purchase things, before you do your research, before you pay for advertisement, you need to do a proper amount of research. Now, how much research you need to do is all determined on your market. Now, number two, inadequate business planning. I did a video on business planning, and you have to plan your business. You can't do it because you can't do without it, because lack of a direction, poor decision making, and difficult securing fundings are going to be some of the issues you're going to run into. Now, whenever you have an inadequate plan, what direction are you going to go for your business? How are you going to get the finance for your business? These are some of the things you might run into. Now, I run into number three is insufficient capital. Now, a lot of business, you don't need a lot of money to start off with if you're doing the service side, but sometimes you need to understand that you need proper test equipment. You need proper equipment to do your job. And these equipment cost a lot of money. And if you want to do it properly and adequately, you need to make sure your equipment are calibrated. So, and these all cost money. Some people don't sit there and say, oh, I need this one device for a survey. Well, this survey device costs 50 grand. How are you going to get the 50 grand? You can't do a site survey without it properly. So you need to learn, hey, how am I going to do it? Because this is one of the major issues I ran into was capital. If you're trying to grow your business, you can always cash flow it and try to do it that way, but you will still hit limitations. Your growth wouldn't be as fast as other companies. And if you start bringing in investors, now you have other issues. You borrow money, you have to pay back the loan at a certain, percentage. So you have to charge more. Now, number four, lack of competitive advantage. What do I mean by that? You can start a business and do everything you need to do, but if you're not better than your competitors, or your competitors are outdoing you, either by value, either by, how fast they do the services, quality they do the service, you have to have a competitive advantage over another company. Now, if you can finish the service work within 24 hours, that looks good on you. If you can, have the lowest value in the market with a good quality, that'll look good on you. But you have to remember that it's all on advantage against your competition. Everyone's competing against each other. You might be buying equipment from another vendor that's in your own industry. So you have to find a way to get a competitive edge on them. If you don't get a competitive edge, you are going to end up dying out, and you are going to start having issues. Now, number five is poor marketing and customer acquisition. Now, some companies have to sit there and you have to call people all day and get a proper you know, how can I say this? You proper amount of customers, and poor marketing can ruin a company. You can't spend millions of dollars on a marketing or advertisement and get nothing. So you have to understand that customer acquisition and poor marketing can ruin your company, and that will slow your growth of your company. It's just like doing YouTube. People make lose money on YouTube by advertisement, if you didn't know that. And one of the big part about it is how are you going to do it? What's your target audience? Digital channels, social media, content marketing, or traditional advertisement. Those are all different marketing strategy. On YouTube, there's Google ads and other things like that. But if you don't do it adequate, target the right people, you're going to throw money to nothing. So you won't get a return on your investment as you want. And a lot of YouTube channels are actually in a negative, or a lot of social media companies are in a negative because they spend more on marketing to make them look bigger, and they're not bringing in as much money. Now, number 6 is inadequate team and leadership. Now, this is one of them that hurts me. I had a poor business partner, and it lead into poor leadership, and it just lack of a good team. And whenever you have that issue, you have decreased productivity, decrease of growth, decrease of sales, because y'all are not on the same page. Now, I'm even at fault for it, but one of the things you have to understand is, whenever you're building your team, you need to make sure everyone has the same idea in the growth of the company when you're first starting a business. If it's not, if someone just sits there and do nothing all day, you really can't afford as a small business owner to have someone sit there and do nothing all day. I had an issue with one of my employees. All he wanted to do was get high all day. And since I don't micromanage and I wasn't around all the time, guess what happened? He either got high or he just sat there and played video games all day. That doesn't make a good team member. Now, did that hurt the company? Yes. Because you're paying someone to do nothing and then you don't get no return on your employee. Everyone needs to have a somewhat of return, even yourself. So if you're making sales, that sales is what you're returning back to the company. If you have an employee, even if he's a warehouse person, he's supposed to save you time to make money in the field. And these are the things people need to know. And number 7, it gets people all the time, is ignoring legal and regulatory requirement. In medical, every state, every county has a different medical requirement for medical equipment and medical sales. So if you don't know these type of things, it could get you in trouble. It could be same thing with electricians, same thing with plumbers. You have to know the regulation for the local area, and you have to make sure you get the license and permits that you need to do this. Don't forget, you have to pay taxes, employment regulation, data protection, and energy specific requirements. So don't overlook this, because it can get you in trouble legally, and you have to make sure you get all those done. So that's why I always tell people, make sure you talk to a legal advisor that knows the local area. You can't just hire someone in Michigan and think, oh, I'm good in Montana and in New York, if they don't know both states. So you need to make sure your legal advice is coming from someone that knows the local regulations. Now, number 8, neglecting customers' feedback and market changes. Man, if a customer's complaining, you need to look into it. That's just the end of the day. They could be one of the worst customers in the world, but she might not be just empty complaining that time. And you could lose a customer because of negative feedback customer. Now, some of these customers are impossible to impress and impossible to make happy, but you need to get to the root of the problem. Now, I have customers that they're terrible. All they do is complain, and there's nothing you can do about it, because the only time they see you as a service person is when their equipment is broken. So all they do is complain because something's broken. And they could make a big complaint like, man, this thing always breaks. And then you look it up in the service history, it didn't break for 2 years. But in their eyes, they just fixed it yesterday, but it's been 2 years. So make sure you always do your research and make sure you always check the market to see the price changes, because price changes in the market happens all the time. Now, number 9 is lack of resilience and preservation. What does that mean by that? When you start a business, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have setback. It's inevitable, impossible to not have them. It's just, you're going to have them. You're going to have important development, resilience, adaptation, and preservation to overcome these obstacles and learn from failures. Now, what do I really mean by that is, hey, you're going to have hardship. It's going to go ups and downs. It's impossible to just have a straight up arrow or straight up in a business all the time. You're going to have employees leave. You're going to have employees try to steal your customers. You're going to have all these types of things. You're going to have employees steal your stuff. You're going to have all these bad things happen. You're going to have people get hurt. So you always have to make sure you think of long term and how you can resolve these setbacks. Now, is it a good thing that these things happen to you? No, but you have to understand it will happen. Now, number 10, lack of self-care and work-life balance. And I am big fault for this one, because when you start a business, you're putting all your effort into that business, and it's really hard to do multiple things at the same time. And I had this issue with my business because I kept working, go to my main job, main job, and I need a good work-life balance. I have to give up one of them because you can't really do both, or you have to downsize one and work. So you have to establish, your proper work-life balance, and that's with family, working. And if you do give up your full-time employment, you have to make sure it's able to cover all your bills. And these are all the things you have to think of, like, are you working out? Are you taking care of yourself? Because the mental health you go through and stress you go through is enormous. Bills are always piling up. People always asking for money. People not paying the bills on time. These are the issue you run into as a business owner. And you just have to understand that this stuff happens. Now, mental health is a big thing when you start a business. So you have to make sure, you prioritize your self-care. You prioritize, set realistic expectation and seek support. Now, those are my 10 obstacles or common obstacles to avoid when starting a business. And it really is that tough sometimes. And I'll tell y'all again what the 10 are. It's insufficient market research, number 1. Number 2, inadequate business planning. It's number 2. Number 3 is insufficient capital. Number 4 is lack of competitive advantage. Number 5 is poor market and customer acquisition. Number 6 is inadequate team and leadership. Number 7 is ignoring legal and regulatory requirement. Number 8 is negative customer feedback and market changes. Number 9 is lack of resilience and preservation. And number 10 is lack of self-care and work-life balance. Hey, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to my videos if you like it. If not, hey, put thumbs down. It doesn't matter to me.